Hey everybody, this is the recap from this week in Washington. We're going to start out with the president's speech at the UN General Assembly. And if you're not familiar with what that is, the United Nations, all the different nations, their representatives come to New York City and do presentations and listen to other leaders. Of course, the President of the United States gets an opportunity to address all these world leaders, which I must say, unfortunately, many of which are despots and tyrants and people that are antithetical to the United States and don't like us being a leader in the world. And I thought the president did a great job of telling them that we no longer will listen to the globalists, the transnationalists, the people that want to control the United States from outside the United States, that we are a sovereign country and we're going to listen to the citizens of the United States and what they think is best for our country as opposed to some other unelected, unaccountable organization. I just thought it was a great way of reaffirming America's place in the world. Now, mind you, at the same time, and this is kind of the next topic, we were moving, while the president was defending the Constitution and the United States in Washington, D.C., under Speaker Pelosi's leadership, they were moving towards impeaching the president without having read, without having seen, based on third-hand information from a whistleblower about something he allegedly said in a conversation with the president of Ukraine. I would just tell you, regardless of whether he said something untoward or not, or unacceptable on the phone call, I think it's in poor form and in very poor judgment to try to move forward with impeaching the president before you even have the information based on your feelings, your supposition, or hearsay. But that's in fact what we did. So while the president was defending the United States and our Constitution in Washington, the Congress is moving to impeach the president based on hearsay. And it's bigger than just the president, right? We're trying to make trade agreements and deals with other countries like China or Europe or other countries. While this is happening, that puts those countries in an advantage to the United States. And there are adversaries and enemies like China, like Russia, like North Korea, like Iran, that are reveling in the impeachment of the president while he's trying to hold their feet to the fire. And how much leverage do you think he has? How much leverage do you think the United States has when we're showing this is how we feel about the leader of our country? Even though we might disagree with him, it puts them in a position of advantage. And I just think that's really not good for the country. But indeed, it was happening. And again, based on hearsay, just in case you don't know, it was based on comments by an individual, and I'm going to call him a whistleblower, him or her a whistleblower, who said they heard from somebody else that the president said this, that, or the other thing. And I invite you, and I actually ask you to go find the transcript. If you can't find it, call our office. We will get it to you. It is 5 pages. You might see it differently than I do, but I don't really see where the president said anything incorrect. We have an agreement with Ukraine to work on corruption in their country and in ours, and it's appropriate when the president thinks that there is corruption that's involving the United States or United States persons, and Ukraine has the information that he asks if they can help on that. We help collaboratively between the two countries, so that's completely acceptable. In any case, and I just want to also say, I think you should do this because of what happened. If you read those 5 pages, you should read those 5 pages, because if you saw in the Intelligence Committee, in the opening statements, the chairman, someone who swears to uphold and defend the Constitution, acted like he was reading the transcript, but literally lied to the world about what the transcript said. He said something completely different, some things the president never said whatsoever or implied, and acted like he was reading the transcript of the conversation. I just think it's disgusting.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. You might not like the president, and I get that, but to stand out there and bold-faced lie to the American people and the world about it and empower our enemies and adversaries, it's just completely unacceptable. So we're moving forward with the impeachment. As you recall, they wanted to impeach the president over the Russia collusion thing, which it came out to be nothing. Then obstruction of justice again. Then they went to impeach Justice Kavanaugh, and now we're back to impeaching the president. Mind you, we got a lot of things on our plate that we should deal with, including infrastructure, including healthcare costs, whether it's prescription drugs or surprise billing, the border situation and immigrant. There's a whole lot of things that we could be working on, and we're not doing any of that because we are hyper-focused on impeachment somewhere here. What we did do, we did pass two things of note. The authorized better, well, I kind of call it the authorized better health care for illegal foreign nationals and veterans. So what we said is that everybody comes here to our country, even if they come here illegally, they have to have a medical record set up that follows them wherever they go. And just understand, put that in context with the Veterans Administration, who's trying to work towards the same thing right now, but they don't have to do it for a few years. This would be active immediately, like within 30 days. So the Department of Homeland Security would have to take resources from defending the border and securing the border and use those resources instead to create a medical records system that followed every illegal foreign national in the country everywhere they went and made sure they got health care. So we passed that. We also passed the continuing resolution, which funds the government past September 30th. Which is the end of the federal fiscal year, which I discussed on the last message, and I voted no on it. It goes right until right before Thanksgiving because they want it that way so that they can put all kinds of things in it that are unacceptable, overcost, overspending, and unpalatable generally, and people will have to vote for it because if they don't, they won't be able to leave for Thanksgiving. I think it's just a horrible way to run the government, and also because the Senate isn't finished with their appropriations bills yet. It's not like they didn't know it was coming. We don't mind if they, look, if you go over the deadline, it's unacceptable, but if you do, we get it. But really, just doing the continuing resolution till right before Thanksgiving, why don't we do it till sometime in the next year where we don't have a holiday looming where people want to leave and we push them into a corner? So we did that. Those two bill. We had a hearing on FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration reauthorization. We did the reauthorization last session, so we had a hearing on how that's going. Unfortunately, we haven't had a hearing yet on the surface bill, on the surface transportation bill, and the highway trust fund, which is really what we need to be working on right now in transportation and infrastructure. So that's where we are. We are on a 2-week district work period right now, but I also want to let you know that while we're on this 2-week district work period, things are going to be happening in Washington regarding the impeachment. We're waiting to hear the information on that. It's my understanding at this time that it's 3 committees that will be conducting it. It's the Intelligence Committee, the Oversight Committee, and the Foreign Affairs Committee. I am a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, but we're looking to see how the rules were written. When we open a session of Congress, we start out with voting on a set of rules, and I think that in this case, they will say how much the minority party, of course, which I'm in, will get to participate in this, in the discovery and the hearings, etc. So we're waiting on that, but that will be going on for the next 2 weeks as well. And finally, for our Jewish friends who celebrate Rosh Hashanah, just want to say we hope you have a great celebration. And God bless everybody, and we hope you have a great time till the next time we get to talk.